The Cowboys regret trading Amari Cooper?
They should. Shouldn't they? I mean, look, Amari Cooper had an absolutely fantastic game this past weekend for them. And one of the biggest benefits of having a guy like Amari Cooper is he is one of the most quarterback-friendly receivers in the league. Like, you remember the old buzzword, Dak? No, this year, the splits are about the same. They're pretty close to the same. By the way, I found this interesting. He is in year 9 now. He has 0 seasons with double-digit touchdowns.
I don't care about that.
I know, but I find it bizarre.
It is bizarre.
There's not a year where...
Like Julio Jones had that for a while, right? He couldn't find the end zone?
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's something that happens, but it's just, it's absolutely bizarre. But you look at this last game that Amari Cooper put up, and it was on the road, RJ Choppy, 11 catches, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns. He now, on his own, holds the NFL record for the most games of 10 receptions, 200 yards, and at least 1 touchdown.
Woo!
He has 4 games of that type of variety over his career. So that's more than the guys who are tied with 3 games, which are Tyreek Hill, you've got Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson, Isaac Bruce, Julio Jones. They all have 3 games.
Hey, he's good. He's good. Now, you had said yesterday that they swapped out, or they bought Michael Gallup.
Essentially, what it came down to was an idea of, do you want to re-sign Gallup or let him go and keep the Amari contract on the books, which has turned into a very team-friendly deal for them.
Cleveland.
Cleveland's in a good spot with that contract. And Amari Cooper cut them a deal. Amari Cooper wanted to be a Cowboy. He never wanted to leave here. I don't think that... He did not get throughout various points of his career, he has not gotten along with people on the coaching staff. He did not get along with Sanjay Lal, their receivers coach. Sanjay Lal was ultimately let go. Amari wins that one out. He ultimately lost, I think, against McCarthy. I think he and McCarthy butted heads. And ultimately, that's something that McCarthy won out on in the building. And they go ahead, they move on from Amari Cooper. They get a 5th-round pick in return, which was used on Matt Waletzko, who I know they were high on. They thought could be a regular starter in the NFL one day at offensive tackle, but he's not been healthy. He's been hurt for 2 years now. And when you look at the production you've gotten out of Gallup and the way that he's played, and then you look at Amari Cooper with just a carousel of quarterbacks, including Joe Flacco coming off of his couch, the last 2 seasons, Amari Cooper, 78 catches, 1,160 yards, 9 touchdowns. This year, 72 catches, 1,250 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's averaging 17 yards per reception. You could use that in this offense. You could absolutely, if you're telling me the offense is Cooks, Lamb, and Cooper as opposed to Cooks, Lamb, and Gallup, I think you're getting a lot more out of this offense. So yeah, I think they're at a point where they absolutely have some regrets about it. At least, I don't think Mike McCarthy does. I think Mike McCarthy's trying to establish a certain culture, and he didn't feel like Amari Cooper fit.
They still think he didn't like football.
I think they think he didn't like football. I think he
likes playing it for Cleveland.
Despite what they say, I think they were bugged that he didn't get vaccinated. I think that upset them, especially when he missed a game because of it, because of COVID protocols. And so,
if he had gotten vaccinated, would he have missed the same game?
I don't recall the specifics about it. I just know that they felt like you wouldn't have got it or something. They've definitely felt like he wasn't putting the team first. Michael Irvin had said that he felt like you're not putting the team first if you do that. But Amari Cooper is somebody who I think they absolutely miss on this football team. But I think guys in the locker room would probably say, man, we could really use him. He'd be a big boost for us. I think people in the personnel department and the coaching staff are more likely to say, we're trying to build a certain culture and he didn't fit it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I just think I don't believe they said, okay, we're either going to sign Amari or Gallup. They CD replaced Amari.
But CD didn't need a new contract. Gallup did.
No, I know, but it's like they drafted CD to replace Amari Cooper.
Replace somebody. They drafted CD to replace somebody.
He was eventually going to be the number one. They were going to pay him.
Right. And so, but that's the thing is that Coop's contract had become so affordable. There was no guaranteed money on the back end. Right. It was a relatively low figure. I'd have to look at the NFL receiver rankings in terms of contracts, but he's a bargain at this point. And what you've done is you've decided to pay Michael Gallup, who's not breaking the bank by any means. It's not like he's costing you
$13 million a year or something.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. 12 and a half, 13, something like that. But when you go down the list, Amari Cooper is tied for 11th. He is one spot ahead of Brandin Cooks on the salary rankings.
Yikes.
And
Yikes.
what
Big
you're getting
yikes.
out of him is
A one.
a legitimate one. And
You
that's what he's been throughout his career. So
Yep.
yeah, I think they're absolutely they should regret it. If they don't, it's strictly a culture thing.
They should, for one reason. They still operate as if a third wide receiver is a luxury.
Yes.
They still operate with that notion in mind. Yet they don't operate with the right tackle as a luxury. They don't operate with a right and left defensive end as a luxury.
It's wild that they will prioritize 3 corners but not 3 receivers.
Exactly. There are 3 receivers now on every play in the NFL. For the most part, unless you're in like a jumbo. There's 3 wide receivers. It's a starting position. It's no different than the right tackle. None. It's no different than the left defensive end. None. It's no different. Yet they operate like it is. It's just it's more important than I would argue it's more important than even the number 1 wide receiver, the third wide receiver is, because you create the biggest mismatch on the field.
Yeah.
If you're as long
as you're willing to take advantage of it, as long as you're willing to throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb when he's in the slot against Kahoo.
But like when Tampa rolled out Evans, Godwin, and Antonio Brown was the biggest mismatch on the field as the number 3 against the third corner.
Yeah.
If they were playing if they were going in that start.
It's a Mount Rushmore receiver.
Absolutely. And I don't think the Cowboys view it like that at all. I just don't believe they do. And I think it's a mistake.